As a DIY musician, you have a lot of things on your plate. We want to concentrate on different ways to get things done. I read something recently that said that communication, when you speak, 10% gets through. When there's sound, 30% gets through. And then the rest is body language. And that is why YouTube is so important, because people don't want to just hear it. They want to actually see and hear and use all their senses. Now, if we could do smell-o-vision, that would be even better, but we haven't had to do that yet. That's why YouTube is important and your image is important. It's not just what you have to say. It's not how it sounds, not only how it sounds, but it's the whole thing. It's the whole package of it. I can get a whole lot done in 8 hours. And people always tell me, how do you get things done? And we're going to talk about some of that stuff. I figure out my goals. I put the plans together. I think one of the biggest things is actually scheduling time out to actually concentrate on each program that I'm doing. That's what we're talking about here. Let's start with beginning with the end. And I sit with my musicians every year and say, okay, where do you want to be next year? What do you want to accomplish this year? And sometimes they say, I don't know. Okay. I know that has to do with your music mission and your branding and how you put all that stuff together, put your career together. And that's a whole nother Facebook Live and blog. I'm going to start small. If you have something in front of you, what do you need to accomplish? What is the result that you want? Whether it's making a phone call, doing an email, working on a graphics program, whatever it is, it starts with simple steps, not huge steps, simple steps. The next is prioritize your to-do list. It is important to know what is the most important thing. You're not urgently always putting fires out. That's not okay for you to do that kind of stuff. You might want to look at a system. I use Google Calendar for almost everything. I can put everything on there. I can put projects on there. I can put daily things on there. You can use whatever system you want, but whatever system you want, and if you're especially working with more than one person, you want them to be able to see those things, especially on their phones or on their computers, and they can be updated and things like that. But we still want to keep the privacy going. That's why I started a Google account, and it just belongs to me and the artist, and that's it. And that's what I'm talking about, just prioritizing what you're doing and stuff like that. The next thing for me is to be proactive, which means we have to do things to make things happen. You can't just sit back and hopefully you get on a Spotify list or something like that. You have to make things happen. And sometimes you have to research and make things happen that way, basically. But there's two ways that you make your decisions to be proactive. And one is emotional. And everything creative is emotional. Anything that has to do with your music, writing songs, performing songs, going in the studio and making sure you get it right, the graphics, anything that just really gives an emotional pull, basically. And everything else is logic. Doing my scheduling for the studio, making sure that I'm doing my social media certain days because I said I would, those kind of things. Sometimes it's just good to know which way you're feeling. You can actually, again, prioritize and then put that on the list and know these are the things I need to do to make things happen. I read something the other day and I'm going to read it for you. It says, being efficient is doing things right. To be effective means that you're doing the right things. We want to be both of those things. And if you're still not accomplishing what you want to every single day because your list is too long, you're doing too much. Instead of you saying, I want to concentrate on these calls and I'm going to make 30 today, that's probably crazy. That's a crazy number. Go back and cut it in half. It's okay to take longer to finish what you're doing and cross it off your list and to actually complete it. It's okay to cut that to-do list in half. The next is focus on your work times. Schedule it out. In the morning on Tuesday, I'm going to work on this. In the afternoon, I'm going to work on that. This day, I'm going to catch up on my emails and those kind of things. You have to be able to do that. And I read all kinds of things that says, basically, you should work for an hour or so and then take a 5 or 10 minute break. It depends on yourself and who you are, I think, and how long you feel like you can focus. Because some people can focus longer than others. I think I can focus 90 minutes, 2 hours, and then I walk away from it for 10 or 15 minutes and come back and then you're refreshed. Whatever works for you, you just have to remember that you have to take frequent breaks because it just refreshes what you're doing. Whether you want to go water your plants or you want to look at your emails or just take a walk around the block, or renew your water bottle or something like that. You want to make sure that you're always taking those breaks. The next thing is I talk about getting together a distraction notebook. No matter what I'm doing, I have an empty pad and paper next to me. In the middle of doing a project, all of a sudden you go, oh shoot, I have to make that phone call. So put it down. You're going, oh, I have all those emails to do. Just put it down. And then you can come back to it and really concentrate on what you're doing. And that little paper is important too, because there are other things you need to do, but you want to just concentrate on what you're doing right now. I'm going to say something and you guys are going to look at me like I'm nuts, but you have to turn off your phone. Turn off your social media notifications for that block of time. Yes, turn it off. Because if you don't, there's a distraction. Then there's this, and I have to take care of that. And everything ends up being urgent then. It's okay for you to actually take the time, turn it off, get things done, take your break, and see what's important. And again, if anything comes up for you, whether it could be a creative idea, just put it down and you can go right focus to your work. Again, it depends on how long that you feel like you can focus on things. Test it out. Maybe you do a 2-hour block. Maybe it's only an hour or something like that. And pick a time, the same time every week if you're working on a specific project, especially for your career. Every week you're going to work on something for its long range. I think it's really important. I do that all the time. I know it's hard, but you really need to do that to actually move forward, basically. Next thing is let automation work for you. If you're doing social media, there's programs like Hootsuite that can arrange stuff and schedule things. There's Google Suite, which I think is called Google Workbook now, and it's a whole big series that can help with your calendars and your emails and all kinds of things and keeping track of things. And so there's different programs. You got to explore something that's going to work for you. Probably something that's going to work on your computer and something that's going to work on your phone, just in case you want to do that kind of stuff. The next piece for me is emails. I don't know about you, but it takes me a long time to do emails because you want your emails to be short, but you want it to make sure that it's really succinct. Ask for 2 different things. I'd like to talk to you about these 2 subjects. My best days to get together is Friday and Tuesday. What is a good time for us to meet on the phone or do a Zoom or something like that? That's why you're not going back and forth or back and forth. That's after you know who you're sending something to. If you want a copy of an email like that, you can actually send me an email at musicbizmentors@gmail.com and I'll send you a sample of that. I have a blog up online. You can look at the musicbizmentors.com and there's more things to go over and list for you guys and some other things to read just about this subject to get yourself actually productive in 2021. The last thing for me is asking for help. Can you delegate? Can you automate? Or can you eliminate something so you can move forward? The first thing for me is to find a virtual assistant that takes care of those emails, that just an email list or some research that you want to do but you don't have time to do it or something like that. Virtual assistants are all the rage. Everybody I know pretty much uses virtual assistants. Take a look. If you're good at some of that stuff too, you might want to put your name out. I like Upwork. I like Fiverr. There's a lot more out there. Take a look to see if there's certain things that you can have someone else assist you in. And it could just be for a couple hours or it could be someone that's ongoing or something. And last but not least is finding a mentor. It's really important when you get stuck that you can send questions to somebody who's going to give you some time or an email answer or send you somewhere. And so if you can't find a mentor, there's not another musician that does similar stuff that you do and you want to bounce ideas back and forth on. So you can email us and I'll talk to you and see if I can connect you with a good mentor for yourself. Every single successful musician and music business person that I know has a mentor. We all have them. And so you really need somebody to bounce your ideas off. And that's how I get things done here. If you have other suggestions that you're doing and it's working for you, please let us know. Put it on the comments here on this video so other people can see it. I'd really like to know from you.